hope we're all doing really, really well today. Thursday, 16th of October. I shouldn't even need to look at the watch to know the date. I shouldn't really, because I do a show every single day. That's the curse of a man of a particular age. Welcome to the show. So I hope we're all doing extremely, extremely well, whatever we're doing today. Back to sort of normal today. Let me just get my water or my drink. Back to kind of normality today. Back to 2 shows. I'm going to do an evening show tonight. I'm going to do a late night show, so be prepared for that. Get in there. I want you to bring everything in. Erik, Scott, hope you're doing extremely well, my friend. Legend of the chat and one of the greatest moderators in the world. Scott is a legend of the channel. To that end, if you are new to the channel, one thing, this channel was built on respect. Please respect the mods more than anything else. Respect each other, and obviously have respect for me and respect for yourselves as well. Scott knows he's here all the time. I'm not a dictator of this chat. I truly do try to read all of the comments out as much as I possibly can. Scott says, yes, I'm good. In and out today. My little one's birthday. She's 3 today. Happy birthday to Scott's little one. Massive happy birthday from us all. 3 years old, fantastic age. I hope you have a fantastic day. Happy birthday. As you know, I'm not a dictator of this chat. I'll happily read out this chat. That's why these shows do take so long. But I will be doing an evening show. So let me know where you're from. Let me know your thoughts and feelings about anything that you said here. Hey, City fan here. Make the city of Manchester great again, red and blue. Welcome, my friend. We get some brilliant fans from other clubs as well. So HJS Mint, welcome, my friend. Amazing. And we do get some amazing fans, and all fans are welcome here. Banter is welcome, as long as it's from a good place as well. Everything is welcome here. How was your evening? It was good. It was a good evening. Nothing untoward happened, Scott. Much to disappoint you. The missus was tired. It was her birthday, but I cooked her a nice meal. I cooked the kids a nice meal as well. We all ate together as family, watched the film, tucked her up in bed, but still no time for a late show because, by the time the film finished and all that stuff, so unlucky for me. Doesn't matter. The show continues. That's what happens when you've been together for 14 years. So married for 10, 11 years now. So, we got 2 kids together. That's life, right? That's normal life. So today, again, bringing into the show the sort of, going to go into the sale a little bit, but I do want to start to shift focus onto the game coming up. Why I'm worried about the game. I've seen a lot of things floating around how people are saying, it says it will be good to win £100,000 on a scratch card, but £1 will have to do. Martin, £1, as I say, better than a kick in the bollocks, right? Jamie Vargas, legend from Texas. We all know Mr. Vargas, absolute legend of this channel as well. Good morning, my friend. I hope you're doing extremely, extremely well. So I'm going to get into the share price. We can kind of go over that. We can kind of talk about kind of how that's kind of fitted into yesterday as well. I think there's 2 theories on that, and I do have 2 opinions on that one, so we can talk about that. Ugarte, it's a fallout on that, and we can talk about that as well. Liverpool, why I'm worried about that game, and I'll go into that, and a little bit on the January transfer window. So give me your opinions in on this. So first topic, because I just want to get it out of the way, because this is going to rumble on until we know. So share price. Now, I don't know the threshold. Perhaps I should have looked this up before the show. Now, there is a point whereby when we're looking at the share price, so share price is a decent indicator of something's happening around shares. And this doesn't happen, and this is not unique to us. There could be something that's happening behind the scenes. People do get aware, insider when you trade, that's not an acceptable thing either. That's a crime. Love that United shirt. It's the best ever. It represents the best keeper, or one of the best keepers that we had. But yeah, this is a fantastic shirt. There is a better shirt. JB, who is it? Who had me a bet? Who is it? Who had me a bet? I don't know, my friend. I don't think that's come out right. If we beat Pool, then get me FC points. If we beat Pool, then get me FC points. All right. Right. Okay. I will. All right. I will do. But it can't just be a win, though, Scott. You have to sort of. I'll do it. I'll do it because you are an amazing moderator, and I will happily gift you some points. So cool, fine. I will look at the screenshot. And Scott, because you're an amazing moderator, if we win, I'll look at the screenshot. I will gift you FC points because you are amazing. So agreed. So share price. Let's get into this share price stuff. So as I said, when share prices tend to go up or down, there's an indicator in the market. It could mean, I didn't mean you, meant someone else said it to me. Amazing. Now, Scott, do you know what, Scotty? Someone else said it to you. But Scott, no, mate, look, I will more than happily, look, Scott, I will happily, because you're an amazing moderator, if we beat at Liverpool, I'll give up some memberships. I should do that. I'll do that. So I'll give up some memberships. Do you know what? I'll do that anyway. I will gift out some memberships, and I will reward Scott for being an amazing person on here as well. So yeah, it's time for me to give back to this community. So yeah, fantastic. So share prices. Now, share prices can go up or down. Now, it can depend on the market. It can depend on circumstances, depending on company, depending on, it could be impacted by somebody leaving senior within the business and the team as well. It could be a merger, many different things. But the one thing that is for sure is that whenever there are fluctuations, because of the nature, and it's particularly on the New York Stock Exchange, this is what we're talking about now, is according to SEC, how long before United are consistently in the top 5, or is the Premier League too competitive now? So I will come on to that. I'm gonna I'll answer that quickly, and then we'll go on to my point. It's too competitive for United right now. It's not too competitive. Look, it is very, very competitive. But the way that I see it, I've got a good picture for you, JB, when I was in Spain. Amazing, my friend. I will take a look at that. It's too competitive for us right now. But I think Liverpool, Arsenal, City are too big. Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Chelsea are too big. Right? So while it is competitive, and I think those those three are locked in. So while it is still competitive, there is still an edge to the top teams purely because of the money that they can earn. Now, yes, they're going to have an off season, but it is very, very competitive. We are not at the moment in that conversation. So how long will it be, Harif, until we start buying players? It could be a very, very long time. I don't think it's this season. I don't think it's next season. And until we move forward as a club and get these Glazers out, we will not be consistent. So it's going to be a long time, and until, like, if we can, if Ineos can do something, or the Glazers do something, and we'll talk about that because it does fit into this share price stuff. We need to buy players. We need to be consistent in the transfer deals before we can be consistent on the pitch. So I think right now it's going to take a long time. Our aim is right now is just to get it. Our aim right now is to win 2 games in a row. That, look, we're talking. We are trying to win 2 games in a row. If we can't do that, how can we be consistent? So I think we're a long way off. Cheers, Scott. So share price wise, so when something significant happens, a company has to disclose what it is, right? So we are and I don't know what the threshold is, and what I mean that why Liverpool as much of a global brand as United. I don't know. I do know. Let's not be sleeping. Liverpool are still a global brand. Okay, they are still a historic, pain me to say it, a fantastic club, right? That's a fact. They're respect to Liverpool. But we are still holding on through the 90s. The reason why we are as good as we are, good morning, Danny B, I hope you're extremely well. Now, the reason why we are a bigger brand is because of the 90s. It's because of, I will look at that picture, my friend, because of the success that we had. Now, we are still living on that, but there is going to be a time where that's going to drop. A brand is only as good as its success, right? Eventually, our success is going to hinder us, or lack of success is going to hinder us. So the reason why we are a bigger brand right now is on the basis of our success. So we are still living on that success. It's not going to last forever. So that is why. That's why. But it's not going to last forever. Exactly. Don't be cheap like Sir Jim, and hit the like button. Danny is right. Give us a like, favourite, and subscribe. It really does help us out. Get into this amazing community. Be part of it. Yeah. So share price. So United. So I don't know what the threshold is. Now the reason why that is important is because if a share price increases to a certain degree and by a certain percentage, the company has to come out and disclose why. It's record. It's got to be out there. So we are coming to a point now whereby I've written this down, that the share price a couple of days ago was around about 15.96-ish at the lowest point. The highest point at the moment is about 18. It's 18.5 at the moment, but it's about 18.9. That is significant. Now, it is beginning to rocket up. Now, when we start hitting this 20, 21, I don't know what the threshold is for the increase. And this is where we come to now. So the good indicator for us, just to know, even if it's good or bad to know, is it's come to that stage whereby United are going to have to come out and make a statement to let the public know, or to let the New York Stock Exchange know as to the reason for that. Otherwise, they can get into a lot of stuff. So as an indicator, the share price is good. Now, yesterday, there was a article by, I think, was it Mike Keegan, or there's so many different people now. There's so many respected guys out there. Laurie Whitwell as well. I think he's come up with that as well. Harry says, just subscribe, straight to the point. Actually, answering questions with your opinion. Exactly, my friend. Look, I'll always try to read out your opinions. What I'll always say is that just because I have an opinion isn't my opinion isn't the end of the conversation. It's just my opinion. I will give you it. I will give you my opinion. I'm not going to hold back, and I respect the fact that you guys give me your opinions as well. But thank you. It does mean a lot. Yo, United guy, Mikkel, legend, my friend. I hope you're doing extremely well today. So, yesterday's been reported, and something that we, JB, is straight to the point all the time. Exactly, I am straight to the point, Scott. Just ask the missus, my missus. I'm more straight to the point. Anyway, so where are we? There is look, this is true, right? So we were talking yesterday about one of the hold-ups as to a possibility of one of the sell points. Yes, Scott, exactly. Well, I was straight to the point, mate, but you can be straight to the point when someone's asleep, right? So, all I'm saying, mate, is I cook the meal, flowers, the whole shebang, but I don't hold it against anyone, mate. That's life. That's life. So, as we spoke about yesterday, one of the indicators is basically the freight line. basically right next to this. There are so many pictures of all these what you call them, the big old, I'm going to call them crate, but containers, right? A little big, you can always get, can't always get what you want. Exactly, mate. That is the story of my life. You can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you might find you get what you need. So, Freightline. So now Freightline's valued roughly about £50 million. Now, where that is key to, I think, this whole deal is that, as we spoke about, it's really, really key for Ineos to get that sale done, because they're basically going to hold everything up. So one of my key points yesterday as to why a sale could happen is Freightline, I think, won about £400 million. Now, whether or not they get that, and we'll talk about why they probably won't, is I don't blame them, right? It's their land. They can actually ask for whatever they like. Whether the fair value, and fair value here is a key word. Okay, so fair value is a key word that you need to keep in mind. It's worth 50 million, but they can ask for what they want. Now, yes, and that is a very good point. But there is something on here called so when you're looking at assets, and when you're looking at, selling stuff in terms of infrastructure for the country, you can basically be subject to a compulsory order to sell. Okay, so what that basically means is that the government can basically say, for the purposes of the country, for infrastructure, to basically make, if it's impacting the country as a whole, then basically you can be ordered to sell that land. Now, what does happen is that there are stages. You can obviously fight against that in the High Court, but ultimately they will issue a compulsory order. Now, what that means is that Freightline would basically be forced into selling their land at a fair price, and this is what we're talking about here. Is in accountancy, in finance, you got like things called international financial reporting standards, right? You got UK GAAP and all that sort of stuff. And what that basically means is it governs the rules for assets and that sort of stuff, and basically it gives you a fair price for your company and that sort of stuff. Now, Freightline, in a capitalist world, this is apparently what we're in. If you can choose the price of something, they can ask for 400 million. They know that land around there is going to be worth billions of pounds. We're talking about when that goes, and I'm sure I might be wrong on these figures here, but I think it's something like 12,000 new homes. I wonder if the troll will be back today. His ban is up. We're going to see what is going on with Shesko. We will come on to that. I'll get through this, and then we'll come on to Shesko, and then we'll come on with all this stuff. So let me go through this part, come back in, and then let me know again. But I will come on to the team, and I will come on to Liverpool as well straight after this. But let's just get through this bit first. But I promise you, I will come back to all that sort of stuff. So, Freightline, in a capitalist world, can ask for whatever they like. Now, the fact that Freightline knows, Scott says United 2-1 win. Interesting. So they can ask for 400 million. Now, this is on the basis that, let's just say that they sold their land to somebody who wanted to build homes on it. United planning on building homes as well. I think it's something like 12,000 homes. I might be wrong, but that's what I read. It's basically going to be an entertainment centre. There's going to be shops. There's going to be homes. It's going to be worth billions and billions of pounds. And this is why they want a piece of that pie. Now, where this is, and I completely understand. Now, I think this is a conversation to understand exactly the type of people that we are dealing with. Now, when people talk about Sir Jim and he's here to save the club, right? And he's here and he's this amazing guy, and we keep saying that the Glazers are scumbags, right? Now, the Glazers, this club is worth 2.5 billion. So it's okay for the Glazers to basically ask for £5 billion, increase the value of their share of their land. They don't own all of the land. They don't own the freight line land. So they want the freight line land for as cheap as they possibly can, and trying to force the government, this is why they're using Sergium, to force the sale of this land. Yet they can't be forced to sell their rights or their stadium for a fair value. Okay, that's the point. Number one, this is what we're dealing with. The Glazers want to get their own way. They want this land for as cheap as they possibly can, and this is where the local land Sergium comes in to use their influence and power, is to force that sale through under the guise of an infrastructure to the city council. Andy, what's his name? So Burnham. If he gets into power, he's a massive fan of this. He's going to push this through. And this is the first part of my theory on this as well, to the share price increasing, and we'll get on to the second part of that. So this could be a reason. Now, this is for people like me I've said this, I do believe that this UAE stuff is all about investment. This is all about pushing this through because they know the freight line deal, I think, is about to go through. I think they've got that deal done. I think they're going to force them out through a sale, which it absolutely, for me, is absolutely shows you who these people are, right? They want to, in a capitalist society whereby the market is free. If you own something and a piece of land, you should be able to charge what you like. But the Glazers are using their nefarious means. They're using Sergium, and together they're going to collude together, and they're going to basically force this land sale, and they're going to get that land sale. So I think what we need to be prepared for is that what this is the first part of them basically acquiring that land. Hussein says, we are going to be, like previous. I will come on to that as well. I'll just get through this bit, Hussein, and then I will go on to the Liverpool stuff as well. And my concerns are all those things as well. So part one of this is basically, look, the Glazers are probably going to get their own way. They're going to buy freight line for 50 million, and there's nothing that they can do. They're going to use Sergium's influence of the country to force this through, and this could be the reason why the share price has increased, because once they have that and they can get and they can basically build, it's going to be worth billions of pounds. So it's a perfect investment opportunity. This is exactly why a share price would increase, is because if you know that there's an investment opportunity which the Glazers are looking to do and looking to build, there's an investment opportunity right here for people to invest and buy shares. So hence, this is why the share price will increase, and I think it will continue the moment the freight line deal, if it goes through, the share price will go up, and they will announce that. Now, my opinion, and I've always been on this one, the reason for this share price is because they're basically looking for investment. Now, as I've said the last 2 days, I think what they want in an ideal world is the UAE or some sort of consortium to come in, buy, not necessarily buy the land, but basically build the stadium. UAE can have the rights to the stadium. They can own the stadium, lease it back to the club. They can also buy the debt. Now, many people don't get this, is that people say, well, why would they buy the debt? Now, you can buy debt, right? Now, they will buy the debt, and maybe two options here. They will buy the debt and let the Glazers or let the club pay them back over 50 years, a really, really cheap deal. Or they can buy the debt, say the whole package for the stadium and the debt is £3.2 billion. They're going to make that back. they'll be here for the long term, and then that debt will clear itself because they're going to make so much money. Because don't forget, they're going to build homes, they're going to build homes, they're going to build shops, they're going to, they're going to auction this stuff off in contracts to all sorts of. There's going to be worth billions and billions of pounds. So to basically get a foot into the door and to make this club successful to them, they'd happily buy the debt, because that debt will be gone. It will be paid for. So this is why I think the Glazers. I think this is why this is what this is about. Now the Glazers, I've no qualms about saying this, is that they would. I think they would be happy enough to let fans think that this is a sell, so they can laugh at us. I really don't think they've got any cares now. Secondary to that, now my other theory on this, and it's just my opinion on this, is that are the Glazers and are Sir Jim, if the UAE buy United have called City for having money, wonder what the fans would think now after calling City. Now, Roblox, look, right, that is a fair comment, and I think that's I think that's a very, very fair comment to make. Cheap play. Hi JB, I hope you're doing extremely well. Legend of the chat and one of the mods. Now, I think Roblox, the difference here, okay, the difference here, and I'll be fair, the difference here is that City, as much as they did have history before, a little bit, the only reason why City have become the force they have is because of money. United achieve success without the money. It's a completely different thing. Now, where I will agree with you on is that, look, United are not successful. Now, we're being held back by debt, okay? But United, historically, the last 30 odd years, we've been successful. Not for the last 10, 12, but we have been. I think there's a separation here that I think City fans and City will be all over. I think it's a very, very, I think, look, they'll be looking, right, to go, oh, look, you're now basically the sort of same as us, because they want to collude, right? And what they want to do is they want any little thing to basically deflect, right? But it's not the same. I will agree with you that right now, from where we are, if we achieve success because of money, from this point, we are. But I guess the difference here is that we still earn £668 million per year. Okay, City were nowhere near that. So it's not like we're not successful. The one thing that we need clearing, and the one thing as well, or the second point here, is we don't need millions and millions of pounds to make us good again. We've got the revenue to do that. What is crippling us is debt. We're not an irrelevant club. We're a massive brand. We're the second most valuable club in the world. We are one of the richest clubs in terms of the money that we make. We are the biggest club. City were none of those things. So it's not like we don't have the revenue. It's not like we don't have the money. It's not like we don't have the fan base. I absolutely get the point that we still need money to clear the debt. But City needed the money to make them the club that they are. So I just don't think it's the same thing. Now, I completely respect the opinion. I completely understand why people would say those things, but I disagree. It is just not. It's just not the same for me. Arab money built City's history. They won't build ours. But if you start to win from this money, if you would agree, look. We are nowhere near the title. What I will concede is that if we were to purge this club, look, this club needs to be purged, right? But if we start winning from this point because we have money pumped into this club, I will concede. Look, I'm not a rational human being, right? I'd have to concede that our success would then be due to an investment in this club. Look, I cannot argue that point, but I think it's still a very tenuous, very, very small point because we still earn revenue more than pretty much everyone else. The only difference is debt. If that debt was cleared, well, the handcuffs would be off. So I sort of agree to a point, but I don't, because look, there has to be a difference here. Okay, is that whether people agree with this or not, we can sustain ourselves. If this debt was gone, we're still the biggest club in England, one of the biggest clubs in the world, second most valuable club. Okay, but we do need to clear the debt. So the only thing that shackles us is this debt that isn't ours. So whilst I would agree to a point that money would allow us to start competing, but my secondary argument to that would be, well, Chelsea have done it, City to the greatest extent. Now I would say that we would then fall into the category of a Liverpool. We then fall into a category of like clubs that have had money put into the club, but they still got like history. So I think what you're saying here, or I think the argument is here, is that I think it's a case of we have a pop at City, but the difference is that City would never have been the club that they are now, and I think you can argue that from a factual perspective is that they wouldn't be. So I don't agree with that argument. I look. I don't. I agree that if the shackles are off, then yeah, it is because of money. But I don't agree. I can't agree. How you guys talking City spendings while United spend so much? Now, I am going to go back to the share stuff in a second. Well, because Mikhail, the biggest difference that people can't seem to get their head around, okay, is City have cheated. Okay, this is factual. Okay, City 115. Right now, it's not about now whether they've cheated or not. It's what people can prove. Okay, they've been found to have cheated or cooked the books in terms of the Premier League rules. In terms of the Premier League rules, they have cheated, but it's what you can prove. Okay, it's like if you're alleged of a crime, okay, they can't prove it in a court of law, irrespective of whether you've been caught with a smoking gun, right? If they can't prove beyond reasonable doubt that it was you, then guess what? Irrespective of whether or not they found you with a body, they found you with a smoking gun, or evidence points to you, it doesn't mean that you're going to get found guilty of a crime, because it's what they can prove. So the point here is that it's not City's money that they spent. They spent the owner's money. Because we spend our own money. This is why we're in debt, because the Glazers have never put a penny into this club. City have spent someone else's money. United spend their own money that they've earned through their success. City were doped with money and achieved success through money that they didn't earn, or money that they didn't get through their success. We spent the money that we earned through our success and our brand deals. Nothing to do with anybody else. So the Glazers never pumped money into us. It was our own success, and it's vastly different. So this makes me laugh, because this is a City argument that I see many times. It's a redundant argument. I think it's one of the most pathetic arguments that I've ever heard. Our success drove our spending. We used our own money badly. City used someone else's money and spent it better. That is the difference. So back to the share stuff. So first point of the share stuff is, look, the reason for the share price, the reason why it's a good indicator for the share price is basically because something will have to be said. Okay, I'm on the alliance that it's the investment. Now, it looks like the freight line deal is about to go through. The Glazers are going to basically use their influence and power using Sir Jim to basically make them sell for a fair value. They're basically going to force the government to force this company to move, which I think is disgusting, even though the Glazers want to sell something twice the value. The Glazers are snakes. The Glazers are going to have impact into this country that they don't pay taxes on. That's one of the things that annoys me. They don't pay, or they pay a limited amount of tax here, yet they're going to impact this country beyond so much stuff, and yet they're going to make billions and billions of pounds from this club. They pay no tax, and they're going to force a UK company to sell their land. It is make that make sense. Now, a caveat to that is, are they trying to buy the land to make the sale more appealable? Now, think about this. If you're going to buy something, so it's like, let's just say you're going to buy a house, okay, and it's going to be built from scratch, and the house isn't built yet, but it's planned to be built. Now, are you going to buy it if the planning permission is not in place? If there's a threat that you may never get planning to build the house, are you realistically going to buy the house? No, not until the planning permission is in. For those like myself who do want to sell, I don't believe this is about sell, is that maybe the consortium are waiting to make this club sale more appealing, is that once they've bought out the last piece of the puzzle and they can say to somebody, look, everything is now in place, the land is yours to build, go for it. So it could be, I don't believe that this is the case. Scenario 2 at this point could be they are basically trying to make the sale more appealing by trying to get the last piece of the puzzle in place to sell it. So UAE will go, look, everything's in place. We can basically come in, we can start to dig, and we can make this happen in 3 to 4 years instead of, I think it's 2031. So that could be the secondary part. So the whole part to this is that we're going to find out reasonably soon. If this share price increases, we're going to find out very, very soon whether or not this is an investment or sell. Now, I'm of the opinion that this is a sell and investment. There are too many moving parts to this in terms of that point to an investment. The sale, look, the moment the ground is dug, the Glazers are here. Ineos and the Glazers are here for 10, 15, probably more years than that. But I do think they need investment. So, as I've said before, I think this could be a triple threat of the Glazers in bed with UAE and UAE in bed with Ineos as well. So if that happens, absolutely forget the Glazers gone. Now, the flip side of that could actually be the debt gets cleared. UAE, they clear the debt, they take the shackles off. Ineos actually are not the full owners of this club. So I can't imagine the UAE are going to come in and not have a controlling, or at least some part of the controlling stake, particularly if they're going to clear the debt or they're going to build the stadium. So it might not be all gloom and doom, but I think we need to be prepared for an investor. I think if this share price increases more, they'll have to come out and they'll have to announce something as to what is going to happen with this club. So I think just keep aware of that. So I'm going to go through the chats and we can talk about a Liverpool game. Rajesh says, hi, this is Namu does random things. I both a membership on your first, you've passed me, you become a blog YouTuber in my time, you've become big. This is my last ever stream. Goodbye. I thought you were gone yesterday, my friend. But yeah, thank you for being here. If this is your last stream, then I will see you soon. But thank you for being here. Money is from our revenue. City is your sugar daddy. I agree. What a bad reason is that? Tulip plays you guys spend 100 million and come up with this shit team. But Mikel, that's the point. But you're missing the point. All you're seeing is you've spent money, City have spent money, and we've spent money. That is your argument here. Is that we've spent money, City spent money. The money is City's now, but it wasn't. The only reason why City are able to spend, and I'm not making this the City show. It is what it is. I've explained it, and if you can't accept that, and that's my opinion. Your opinion is that it's equal, and we both spend money. Look, if you can't accept certain factors, and I'm not saying the facts, if you can't accept certain logical factors, my friend, then that's up to you. Let's have a little look. See what else we got. You guys should have never sacked Ten Hag. Yep. This if it's a big factor and pointless to raise, it's not gone. I won't just be gone. We need new owners. Football Tube, I agree. I don't think it is a pointless if to raise, because I'm raising the point because we need to talk about this stuff, right? I think whether we like it or not, right, is that there are options here. There are scenarios that we have to discuss. And there are ifs and buts. You know, on one hand, it's a load of nonsense. On one hand, it's more than likely it's an investment, which I believe, and I've been banging that drum, I believe that it's an investment. Or scenario 3 is a sell. And those things are all on the table. So I think we have to discuss, because we can't just go, you know, that's it. We do need new owners. United have spent just as much as City in recent times, and I could also argue your wages are very similar to City's, apart from Haaland's. I'm not disagreeing with you. But the elephant in the room, or the factors that are true, City would not be in the situation that they're in unless they spent someone else's money. And look, I'm not going to keep arguing this, because this is a really redundant old point that, you know, but those are the facts. You know, they're not something I've made up. This is not something that's been hidden. You know, City, now when Pep came into City, he bought 2 new left backs, right backs, had 1 goalkeeper for a season, and then bought another goalkeeper. Like, these are facts, my friend. Like, basically City doped up by their owners. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to spend the money that they have. They wouldn't be able to afford the wages. Now, you can't quote recent times, because there's cause and effect. You can't just dismiss a history because it suits what you're saying, right? There's cause and effect. History has been littered with things that have happened, and there's an outcome of that. Like, really, we all know what City are and the reason why City are the team that they are. I think everybody else has moved on. City can't handle it. City want to be on a level playing field and be spoken about like all the other historic clubs, and it grates you. It grates City fans that you're not accepted as one of the established clubs, because you artificially doped. And just because you want to fit into the conversation that you're trying to have, the cause and effect here is billionaires came into the club, and the effect is that City are where they are because of that. So you can't just recent times. No, recent history is 20 years. So just because it doesn't suit your argument of what you're trying to say, the only reason why City are able to spend the money and give the wages that they are is because of the money that they've had. impressive beard. Thank you, Salvador. I can't, because if I did, the missus would chuck me out of the house, so that's never going to happen. We should never let Smalling and Jones go. Smalling's retired. I don't know that Smalling wasn't a world-class player. We should absolutely have let Smalling go. And Jones didn't go anywhere because Jones was injured. Look, I mean, as a really, that's one of the first times I've ever heard that say. I'm stunned by it. It's an opinion, I get it, but for me, I disagree with it. But I get it. Need a new interim. That's when we get on a roll. Disagree, Salvador. Disagree. I will come on to why I disagree as well. We are forgetting the data is from a hacker, not by the Premier League. Look, you can justify everything that you want to. Okay, I get it. But basically, what you're saying is because it's not come from what? So basically, what you're saying is because City hid it and it had to take a hacker to find it, that it doesn't count. So fraud. Yeah, a thing called fraud, and when fraud gets exposed, and it could be a hacker, it could be somebody who's ratted them out. So what you're saying is, unless basically, so let me just sort of understand this. So unless the Premier League legitimately found out the fraud for themselves, then it doesn't count. But that's the nature of fraud, is that you hide it and you collude to hide it. So if you're hiding it and you hide it well, you're not going to get discovered. So then in your opinion, it doesn't count. So on the basis of fraud, because they're fraudulent actions, alleged, I just have to say that as well, it doesn't count because a hacker exposed it. You're one of these City fans who are kind of clasping at straws, my friend. City received every time when they won the league. City did not get £300 million every time they win the league. Honestly, City do not earn 300 million from winning a league. They just don't. How about, but again, Michael, even if they got £300 million for winning the league, mate, why did they win the league? You're completely missing the point. They won the league because they got doped in 2008 or 9, and then they were winning stuff. Like what part of this is really difficult to grasp? There's a cause and effect. Cause, City got artificially doped. Owners, you pump billions of pounds into the club. Effect is you become a successful club. It doesn't matter then. Like their money now is from a legitimate source. But when you launder money, and I'm not suggesting that that's what happened, but when you launder money, or when you try to funnel money and you funnel it into a legitimate source, it becomes legitimate money. So they've pumped money into City before all of these rules, and now as a cause of that, City have now become a successful team. Like, I don't get what you're not grasping about that. How about United teams started trading players to each other like Arsenal, City have done over the years? Talking about City cheating as team finished 15th international break. Talking about City cheating as a team finishing 15th is crazy. International break. No week has sent United fans in it. I disagree. I'm talking about it because someone has raised it. So because I read the chat, right? I don't shy away from things on here. It's actually stopping me from actually talking about what I want to speak about. But I don't understand the point. So again, because we finished 15th, the cheating stuff doesn't count anymore. Like, and the only reason I'm even talking about City is because City fans want to be relevant and keep banging this drum about to be a relevant club, when they're relevant in terms of a conversation about Champions Leagues, a treble, which they've won, but nobody cares. When a City fan's going to accept their position as they're basically that kid whose parents are rich, giving them loads and loads of money, and they're flaunting it round, and then they're going, "Oh, look at us! You know, we're so good, we're so great." Nobody cares. Nobody cares. So what play? I don't care. I really don't care. City fans, my friend. I'm not reading that. Magna and McManus sold the club to strangers from America. Exactly. Hello from Nigeria. Cassidy is a big player whose experience would help. Daniel, my friend, and I'll get onto Liverpool stuff as well. I will get through your chats. Some of them, I'm not going to read them all. Daniel, I disagree, mate. Disagree. Casemiro, if you've watched Casemiro play, I don't know if you have. He looks like he's running in sand. His brain is still there. His body is not. If we go to Anfield with a two-man pivot of Casemiro and Fernandes, we're going to get destroyed. Casemiro is not the player that he was. Casemiro is not the answer. He's got experience, but he needs to play in a midfield three. If we play a pivot, he's going to get destroyed. Roadblocks, I'm not answering that, mate. We get roasted via Liverpool. It's sad. Amorim, Bruno, Casemiro out. Jackal says hi. Sabozway is a threat. Give the lads a chance. Who's winning Sunday? Academy boys are hungry for a start. Are you well? I'm very well. I'm just going to get through your chats. And then Alex Ferguson should have tried to stop the sale in 2005. He was friends with the owners. Look, Fergie was never stopping that sale. Ferguson recommended them. So look, ultimately, it's Ferguson to blame, though. I think that's a very easy aim, and I'm not suggesting, Martin, that's your aim. But ultimately, the actions were not Ferguson's. I'm guessing he did what he thought was right in terms of, with the racehorse and what, and sometimes in life it's these smaller deals that have a massive impact, and you can have an argument that there's an impact from Ferguson, but the Glazers are their own people and they didn't have to. Where did you hear that it was close? Opinions on the hair strand, opinions on Goldbridge, opinions on just giving up this point. On hair strand, I have no opinion on that. Opinions on Goldbridge. I don't have opinions on him. I don't know him. Mate, look, people like who they like, right? He comes in for criticism all of the time, right? People must like Mark Goldbridge because 2.2 million people, mate. From what I personally have seen of him, I admire the hustle to do what that guy has done, to build the platform that he's built to the point whereby he's streaming Bundesliga games on the channel. It is phenomenal, and absolute massive respect for the guy, because I can't comment because I don't know the guy. I don't really watch it. I do watch the odd bits. My only criticism would be I think he needs to refresh the channel. I think there are people on there who are not great, but they've all got, look, this is a hard gig, right? Not everybody's going to like me, not everybody's going to like them, but massive respect, because you've got to. I mean, I do find him on the things I've seen very engaging guy. Whether or not you like that, but yeah, just massive respect. Look, we're never going to get that big. I'd love to, but we're never going to. So he is the originator of this sort of style. massive respect. Polska Elijah says United. Forces we are absolutely playing Cass and Bruno. There is no if Liverpool are winning. I love United. Usman says why is Cunha not starting? So let's get on to Liverpool. Okay, so I've been to the chats. Let's go on to Liverpool now. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we now? I'll give you my opinion. I'll give you my outwardly opinion in terms of what I think from like a high level, and then I'll give you what my concerns are. So this game really does depend on Liverpool. Now, when I say that, there are a couple of things at play here. Okay, if Liverpool play to their best with their best players, factually, to a man, they would have pretty much, other than you'd maybe argue some of the defenders, maybe one defender, maybe the goalkeeper. But again, Lemenges only started one game. So I think that you could argue to a position they have significantly better players. So if Liverpool come out after the break and all of their players play to their full potential and all of our players play to their full potential, Liverpool win that game. Okay, so that's a fact. Is it a fact? No, it's my opinion. Looking at the both teams, Liverpool have a full strength, full functioning, fully firing team. They win that. Okay. The caveat to that: this is a derby. Everything should go out of the window. Form goes out of the window. When it's a derby, anything is possible. Okay? But it also depends on the form. If Liverpool take, and I've watched them a couple of times this season, they've not looked great. Defensively, I will say we can get at them defensively. Offensively, they can absolutely blow us apart. So it says, I just wanted to save you the pain and frustration waiting for you against Liverpool by suggesting mountain hiking. Nothing beats a day out in the wilderness amongst nature. Take your dog too. I like that. I normally go to the gym or I'll go for a run. Similar sort of thing, but I like that, Shamira, or sorry, I pronounce names awfully. I like that. I agree. Just get out there in nature with a dog, with some children, or just go for a run. Get into that air and distance. It does make you feel better. So, hey man, what are your thoughts on Sunday's game? Do you remember me? Of course I do. CR7 legend. So I'm going to get through this. So I've already spoken about Liverpool. If Liverpool play to their full potential, okay, like for like, we play to our full potential, Liverpool will win this game. Okay, now Liverpool before the break haven't been great. Now they have been winning games, okay, but they haven't been great. If that Liverpool come out, then I think anything is possible. Okay, anything is possible. However, we can't win 2 games on the bounce. We've been inconsistent ourselves. A Sunderland win, because Amorim changed tactics slightly to hoofing the ball up front and winning the second balls. Now, I made this mistake of City. Now, City weren't exactly playing particularly well. We went to their place and we were awful. City weren't great. City won, and look, the result will tell you that City won, and if you're looking at it and you didn't watch the game, you think City played well. They didn't. We were awful. Now what are we going? Now what are we going to be? What United are going to turn up? Will it be the Arsenal United that were on it pretty much the whole game? Are we going to get the Fulham United, whereby we played well for half a half and then were awful? We're going to get the City United that came out and were okay but were terrible. We're going to get the Chelsea United that started off well. They went down to 10 men. I just don't know. I just don't know. So there are a couple of factors here. Now I have to go with what I believe is right. Now I'm not writing off this team here. We can't win 2 games on the trot, and we're asking this inconsistent team where Amorim plays Luke Shaw plays Luke Shaw, plays Bruno out of position in a 2-man pivot of Casemiro. Casemiro, who can't run for shit, who is always a yellow card short of a red card in a 2-man pivot at Anfield. I mean, look, if Amorim plays, which I know he's going to, Amorim plays a back 3 of Luke Shaw, who's been fucking terrible, Maguire, De Ligt, a midfield pivot of Casemiro and Fernandes. I think that writing is on the wall. So depending on what team, so Liverpool win is what you say. Now, Neil B, I've got to be honest. I have to say I don't think Liverpool are going to be as bad. Lucha is back, but he's not back for that game. I'll be very, very surprised if Lucha's back. Lucha's penciled back for the Brighton or the Forest game. I think we lose. I'm sorry to say it, but I think we lose. Sorry, guys, just been sent a message. Bloody hell. I think we So I think that basically that we lose. I genuinely can't. I can't see a win. So I think if we can come out with a draw, I think that's a good result. Look, if we can come back and win, if we can go to that game and win, then I think that that'll be astonishing. If we can get that win, I think it will boost Amorim. I think it will boost this team. But I think we come away with a loss. I think a draw would be the best result. And I think that would be a winner in my opinion. So we've got it's still a mess. I think that, and again, I will do a longer show. So the next show that I'll do will be a longer show, I guess, on the Liverpool game, and there'll be a press conference as well. So we'll start to talk about that. My favourite. Look, what would I play? I'd play a back 4, 3 in the middle, and then 3 up top. But that's not how we're going to play. We're going to play back 3, midfield pivot, and that's what we'll do. So, guys, on that note, I am going to have to go. I will be back this evening. Feel free to join me tonight. I'll be on probably around about 9:30, 10 o'clock tonight. Bring in your stuff. Bring in the Liverpool game stuff tonight. We can talk about that there. Bring in whatever you need to bring in, and we can talk about it then. So, guys, have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Don't forget the show tonight. Please give us a like, favourite, and subscribe. And yeah, I will be back on this evening. So have a good rest of your morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are. And I'll see you very soon. Take care and see you later.